Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I'm your host, the gentleman Jody Powell, and with me, as always, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan, deep in the Buchanan Laboratory. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I am just fine, Jody. How are you, sir?
Brother, if I were any better, I'd be great. But right now, I'm only just good. But I tell you what I want to know, what's going on down there in the Buchanan Laboratory, my friend?
Well, I'm trying to have these ready just in time for Christmas, but it's a combination eyeglass and earbuds. But the problem I'm having, gentlemen, is that with the ones I've developed is you see out of your earbuds and you hear out of your glasses, and I don't think that's a really safe invention at this standpoint.
No, I think you got it backwards, man. You got some wires crossed or something.
Yeah, it's a work in progress for sure. So we'll have to see if we have it ready for this season.
It's kind of like, hey, what'd you hear? I don't know. Oh man, well, good luck with that, because a combo smart glass earbud kind of thing, I could see that working out like in a gym somewhere. The smart glasses, you can see out of it to calculate how little weight you're able to lift, and then the earbuds will give you all of that motivational speaking, and you can listen to Matt Foley as he comes out of his van down by the river to get you going there.
Yep.
Again, young people, if you don't know who Matt Foley is, you need to YouTube it. But what do you say, Mike, buddy? Let's get into some wrestling action, and we can start by getting into the WWE and seeing what's going on with our friends up in Stamford, Connecticut. I want to start off talking, though, Mike, about what we saw. I believe it was last Monday night on Monday Night Raw. Apparently, we've got new War Games matches coming up at Survivor Series. And I know you're going to love this. It's of the women's wrestlers variety, right? That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, it looks like we're going to have a women's War Games.
Not only do we have to see 2 or 4 battle each other out or battle against each other, but now we have 10. Because reasons.
Because WWE. But it looks like it's going to be on one side. Now, get this now. Both world champions on one team, Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, on the same team, even though they just fought it. Crown Jewel, but it looks like they're going to be on the same team here with their kind of cronies following them around. Nia Jax is bringing along Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae, while Liv Morgan brings Raquel Rodriguez. And there's one team. And then on the other team, it's also kind of a hodgepodge. I mean, you've got the World Tag Team Champions, Bianca Belair, and your favorite wrestler, Jade Cargill.
Correct.
Was that?
Correct.
Jade Carrec, that's right. You got the former Brontosaurus Rex, Naomi, who used to dance for Tyrus, who was on Fox News during the night of the election. And then you've got missing 2. Oh, Io Sky, just randomly thrown in there for some reason. I guess she's apparently the number 1 contender for one of the world titles. I don't know which one. And then the returning Rhea Ripley, because I don't know, just kind of seems thrown together. Like, we need a women's War Game, so pick 10 women to be in there, and if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, no big deal.
Maybe they're finally trying to work it where Tiffy time finally cashes in the bank.
Maybe she cashes in, and I mean, that's really the only interesting part of this, because I did think of that. Tiffy, who is on the team of both champions will be in the cage. So could be an opportunity for her to cash in on Liv Morgan, or could be an opportunity for her to take advantage of cash in on Nia Jax. I don't know. I guess it's worth watching to find out what happens. I'm not really tuned into this. I have a hard time. Io Sky. I mean, where is Dakota? Where's damage control?
Yeah.
They're just not. They don't care. They're not part of this. They're not out there cheering her on. They're not saying, "Hey, why are you going off with this other team?" They've just kind of not been there. At least they weren't last week that I saw. Not that I was paying too much attention to damage control, but so I don't know. It'll be interesting war games, and I guess if we have a war games for the men, I guess we have to have one for the women.
I don't know if "have to" is the right word.
Title IX and all, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna stop.
Moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to get any email that I don't want. So moving on. The other thing in WWE that's interesting, for the first time in a while, is Judgment Day, because it appears there's some low-key animosity building between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, as Finn Balor kind of set them up 2 weeks ago for that match, that tag match against the War Raiders, where Dominic and Carlito were defeated. And then on social media, Finn Balor posting a picture saying the Judgment Day, and it was him, Carlito, and JD, conveniently leaving out Dom, Liv, and Raquel Rodriguez. So, I mean, are we headed for yet another revolving door Judgment Day split here, Mike?
Well, I don't know if it probably is a split, but I'm also wondering if they're not trying to set up some kind of third men's or second men's War Games match where Balor, McDonald, and Carlito pick up at least one more. Here's one for you.
Yeah.
On the other side, you've got Carlito, and we'll put our differences aside for one night. Damian Priest.
That one,
and a couple of other people.
Here's where that'll go off the rails, is because I still think we're headed for, and I'm here for it, honestly. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, whether it's for the world title or not, that was never really resolved. But here's what I want to throw at you. What if there is almost a split of the Judgment Day where they're about to come to blows, and a new leader of the Judgment Day arises, turning heel for the first time in his WWE career, the deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio, your second favorite wrestler. Wouldn't that just make Judgment Day all that more interesting for you, Mike?
Yeah. The only thing that would be more interesting to me at that time would be a women's match.
Well, apparently we're going to get that at Survivor Series with War Games. And then, of course, before we wrap up WWE, we have to talk about the disconnected phone line from Roman Reigns to the Wise Man, Paul Heyman, and the fifth man, Bronson Reed, joining Solo Sikoa, as we saw a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. At the time of the taping of this show, we don't know who the fifth man is for the original bloodline, but you got to believe it's Seth Rollins, right? I mean, we've got this Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins deal going on. Surely it's going to be Seth Rollins putting aside his animosity toward Roman Reigns to get his hands on Bronson Reed. What says you, Mike?
I hope they don't drop that anvil. I want something different.
What'd you have in mind?
How about this one? And I haven't heard any reports, so maybe I'm way off the wall. Oh, I'm losing his name. I always do this. What was the third member of the Shield originally?
Yeah, Dean Ambrose.
Jon
Moxley, who is currently in AEW. I don't know what the contract status is, but he's pretty much. I don't follow AEW that closely, but he is in a storyline there. It'd be very cool to see a Moxley Reigns reunion.
Lots of possibilities out there.
I mean, never say never in the world of wrestling, especially if they start having these forbidden doors open at different pay-per-views. I don't know if AEW's in with WWE to do that or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Well, fans, that's all the time we have for the roundup of the WWE. So as we transition to commercial, watch these messages and we'll come back and we'll talk Wrestling for Christ right after these messages. Hello, wrestling fans. The Gentleman Jody Powell here. Are you searching for an engaging speaker for your next church event, civic meeting, industry conference, or a company-wide motivational session? Well, look no further. I'd be honored to bring energy, insight, and inspiration to your event. With experience as a 2022 Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking semifinalist, I know how to connect with audiences, both large and small. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a packed auditorium, I'll deliver a memorable and impactful message tailored to your needs. Visit today at www.jodypowellspeaks.com to explore my keynotes, talks, and trainings. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Book me today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back, wrestling fans, to Falls Count Anywhere. Let's turn our attention to the world of Wrestling for Christ. Mike, Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. It was made official, but before that, there was a viral video that went around announcing December 14th, right here on Abundant TV, a 2-hour special of Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. And what a card it's going to be. A triple main event, man. What do you think about this? Happy Brolidays that's coming up.
Well, I think it's a present from WFC to all the wrestling fans out there. And Jody, you and I were talking before the show. It's an interesting doubleheader, if you will. You have our show, Clean for the Whole Family, from 6 to 8. And then you have the return of WWE's Saturday Night Main Event. So you
sound thrilled.
Well, there's such a difference in values between the two. So you go from good stuff to buyer beware stuff.
Well, watch with the whole family from 6 to 8. Happy Brolidays. Put the kids to bed. And then if you want to watch Saturday Night Main Event, which I will, because quite frankly, I'm looking forward to it. I used to love staying up to past the local news to 11:30 and watch Saturday Night Main Event when I was a kid. Turned it down real low, laid in bed on my little black and white TV so my parents wouldn't know I was still awake. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But so the nostalgia in me is coming out in this, and I'm like, this is going to be pretty cool, I guess, until we start watching it, and it's going to be the same old stuff that we get on Monday and Friday nights. And that's fine. That's what they want to do. But Mike, this Happy Brolidays, triple main event. It truly, the words of Cousin Eddie, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And it's going to give us 3 main events. First, we've got a grudge match, a tag team grudge match between the Conquerors, Kenny Austin, Chris Thunder Anderson, and Sir Charles Humperdinck with them as their manager, who we saw in an interview with me this past Saturday night, denying any involvement of the attack on AWOL. Well, AWOL's not buying it because in this grudge match, this tag team grudge match, the Conquerors are taking on AWOL. And my big question here is, we've got AWOL number 1, who has been wreaking havoc in the locker room. AWOL number 2, broken ankle, not going to be ready by December 14th. Who's going to partner with AWOL, Mike?
Well, I'm sure AWOL is not hurting for funds. And so what they may do is they may pull an old handsome Harley Race and go out and find them a mercenary. There's no shortage of mercenaries. And it might just be a one-shot deal just for this match, but I think AWOL will find somebody to team up with them.
Well, it could be. I mean, if anyone knows mercenaries, it's probably that big lug AWOL. I'm going to have to keep my eye on this one. I don't trust AWOL any further than I can throw him, and I can't throw a human being very far. So we'll have to see about that. Another tag team match. The second main event is for the WFC World Tag Team titles. The champions, the Foundation, taking on Perfect Vision, Zachariah Cutter and John Matthews. And Mike, we saw Saturday night Dylan Dollar take on Zach Cutter in that singles match. Before the match, the foundation was telling me how disrespected they've been and how they felt like no one looks at them as like true champions. And then during that match, I saw a lot of things that I wasn't thrilled with from the foundation. A lot of underhanded things, a lot of behind his back punches thrown by Travis Roberts on the outside. I didn't like what I saw from the foundation. Borderline unethical there, quite frankly. And I don't know. I'm not sure where it's going, but there's a new edge to the foundation. I will say that.
And I understand you received a text from somebody during the middle of all the action on Saturday night.
You were watching. Yes, I did receive a text from the commissioner praising the actions of the foundation, saying that, hey, in my federation, in my organization, I want my champions to want their titles and be willing to do anything to hang on to them. In fact, we're going to see Travis Roberts take on John Matthews next week on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. And the commissioner wants to see more of the same from the foundation.
You know, thought occurs to me, Jody. Maybe, just maybe, the foundation knows who this new commissioner is. And so they're taking that advice to heart before the new commissioner even reveals themselves, such that, hey, if you want violence, we don't have to be baby faces anymore. There's been baby faces turn heel, even as tag teams, for a long time in professional wrestling. And if they want the belts and they know who the commissioner is and what they want to do, maybe they just planning ahead.
That's an interesting theory, and I got to tell you, not one that I'm thrilled about. I really have a lot of respect for the foundation, for what they stand for and how they operate up until last Saturday night. And hopefully that was just an off night. But your theory is very interesting. One that we're going to have to do some investigative journalism. I don't know. What's Boudreaux doing? Can we sick him on that?
I can loan him out to you.
I appreciate that. We'll send him up. We'll send him down to Athens, Georgia, and see if the foundation is willing to put the dogs away so Boudreaux could get in there and ask some questions. So that's our second main event of the evening during Happy Brawler Days on December 14th. The third and the biggest main event, the match we've been waiting for, the triple threat match for the WFC heavyweight title. Carolina Dreamer, Loaded Guns, Ken Magnum, and Shane Austin. And Mike, you know as well as I do, triple threat means no DQ. It means the champion does not have to be pinned to lose his title. It's the first man to gain pinfall, gets the victory and the belt. Everything's going to come to a head in this match. What do you think about this match, this triple threat match for the WFC title?
Well, keep it short. I think Magnum and Dreamer team up and eliminate Austin, as it were. And then after that, I think Magnum might actually walk out with the belt.
Wow, Ken Magnum. Hey, listen, I would not be surprised if Loaded Guns Ken Magnum walked out of there. I would be surprised if we see him and Dreamer team up. The Dreamer has not wanted his help in the past. See that street fight they had there when Magnum interrupted. However, when it comes to keeping the belt, like the commissioner said, they want to see champions who will do anything to keep their championships. And if that's going to be the case, then Shane Austin's going to have a case for a Raw deal yet again. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Happy Brawler Days, fans. December 14th, right here on Abundant TV, 6 to 8 p.m., right before WWE's Saturday Night Main Event. So it's really about 2 hours of fantastic wrestling and a couple of hours of that other stuff. Well, fans, stay tuned, because coming up after these messages, it's Finding Tomorrow. We'll be right back. Oh, hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. And I can't tell you how much I love this devotional written by my partner on Falls Count Anywhere, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. He wrote this book called Feeling Down, Look Up. You want to get your copy today. It's on Amazon. So you're going to want to search for Feeling Down, Look Up by Mike Buchanan. And it's got verses, it's got stories, it's even got a place to make notes. It's fantastic. You'll thank me later.
The holiday storm is approaching.
Hey, Shane Austin, I will fight you again. It don't matter.
One man must emerge victorious.
I'm going to get my revenge against you, Ken Magnum.
3 men, 1 championship.
You're at the top of the mountain in WFC. I want to get to the top of the mountain in WFC.
Wrestling for Christ presents Happy Brawladays.
Saturday, December 14th on Abundant TV, a 2-hour holiday special of Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, brought to you by Wrestling for Christ. This special includes a triple main event. First, for the WFC World Tag Team titles, the champions, the Foundation, take on the #1 contenders, Perfect Vision. Then, another tag team grudge match between AWOL and the Conquerors, Kenny Austin and Chris Thunder Anderson. And for the WFC World Heavyweight Championship, a triple threat match between Loaded Guns Ken Magnum, Shane Austin, and the WFC World Heavyweight Champion, the Carolina Dreamer. All of this and more, Saturday night, December 14th, live on Abundant TV, 6 to 8 p.m. Be there.
Do you need inspiration to help you win your week? Then you need to check out the Quotivation podcast, hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell. Start with a shot of motivation to reframe your mindset. Hear from special guests who share their favorite quotes and inspiring stories. Wrap up with the last slice of cheesecake, where Jody recaps and gives tips to help you achieve your goals. Tune in and win your week. Available on most podcast services.
Welcome back, wrestling fans, to Finding Tomorrow. This is airing Monday before Thanksgiving, and the holidays can be difficult for people. Not everybody, but some people. Most of us look forward to Thanksgiving and spending it with friends and family, but there are others that don't. Either they don't have family because they've passed, or they're in a situation where being around family stirs up memories and it's difficult to be around them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. And I got to just interject here because I'm in a similar situation. My wife lost both of her parents, and she lost both of her parents in the month of December, 4 years apart. Her mom passed December 10th of 2006, and her dad passed December 7th of 2010. And it's been 14 years since her dad passed, 18 since her mom, and Christmas has never been the same. December is always very difficult, and 14 years later, Mike, it's still raw.
I'm sure, absolutely. So here's where the Finding Tomorrow comes. There's coming a day, and it is approaching sooner with each passing moment, when we're going to reunite with those that have gone on before, and with those that are mad at us and that we're mad at if we're really honest with each other. And then we're not going to care. We're just going to be glad to be in heaven. I told Mark this story before we aired. I knew a pastor's wife, and she would care for her 2 brothers who had muscular dystrophy, and both of them died. But one of them had told her, whenever I end up in heaven, the first thing I'm going to do is ask the Lord, why did I have muscular dystrophy? Mm. And so time passes, and the sister has a dream. And she goes to heaven and sees her brother. He's fully well, no hint of disease, just full of joy in the whole 9 yards. And so they walk for a little bit and talk for a little bit, and finally they sit down. And she says, so what did he say when you asked him? And he got a little bit sheepish and blushed and turned his head away. And she thought about it for a moment, and then she changed her question. And she said, "You didn't ask them, did you?" And he turned back to her and said, "No." And she said, "Why?" And her brother told her, "Because up here, it doesn't matter."
Mm.
I am not minimizing anybody's hurts or betrayals or heaven knows what else you've been through with your family. But tomorrow will come. I know that people say tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow will come. There will be healing for you and for your family.
Yeah. Mike, it reminds me of 1 Corinthians 13:12. It says, "For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then," speaking of the day that you were talking of, "then we shall see face to face. Now I know a part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." And what that's saying is that the relationships we have here on earth are just small glimpses, small pieces of what they're actually going to be like in heaven. All of the good parts of the relationships, all of the looking forward to the family at Thanksgiving, all of the laughter and the inside jokes and the sharing at the table. It's a small glimpse of what it's really going to be like. And what will not be present at those tables are hurt, hate, tears, animosity, sadness. All of those things will be gone. And that's what the verse is saying. I know only a part now, but there's coming a day that we're going to know fully what these relationships are like. And like in your story, the brother that's in heaven that was healed when he died and went to heaven. Because right now we're suffering in a broken world. Well, up there, nothing's broken, Mike. It's perfection. It's the lion lays with the lamb. And the things that we harbor in our hearts, the grudges that we hold in our minds, the hurt that we feel through the bones of our body disappear and simply don't matter. And there will come a tomorrow when Christ will return, and he'll call us up and he'll bring us home. And every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And what a glorious day that's going to be. Because everything that we feel here on earth that has to do with hurt, pain, anger, anguish, physical pain, emotional pain, trauma, there's no minimizing that. There are people in this world, and dare I say, people watching us right now that have been through such emotional trauma of unspeakable things, things that we can't even imagine. And the power of God is such that all of that will be wiped away. And that's what we have. That's what I think is the blessed hope.
It most certainly is. Yeah. If that doesn't exist, then we're, as Paul said, of all men, most miserable.
That's exactly right. We've missed the mark if it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, I don't want to know what does. Don't want to know what does. Well, fans, we want to thank you for joining us here in this Finding Tomorrow segment and joining us for Falls Count Anywhere. And if you're struggling with holidays coming up, I'm going to encourage you to do what Mike says to do.
Don't watch out. Look up.
There you go, fans. Well, stay tuned. That's all the time we have at Falls Count Anywhere. But coming up right now, Chris Whaley, Jeff Dixon, The Clash on Abundant TV. Hey, you. Don't forget, Saturday, December 14th, right here on Abundant TV, Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour presents a 2-hour special. Happy Holidays. be there.